For the people who don't do jiu-jitsu, I've been doing it for nearly 2.5 years now. I train under Chris Reese and Ash Williams,
Hmm.
and incredible coaches as well. And what would you say for those people who don't do jiu-jitsu? Like, what is the benefits of jiu-jitsu, would you say?
It's one of those things. Jiu-jitsu is obviously, I might be a little bit biased considering, I live and breathe it basically. And I kind of don't understand what life would be like without it. Depends where you're coming from. It depends. People want different things from life. Some people would want from a martial art, they want something that's fun. They want a hobby. And to that, it is a lot of fun. It's very challenging. It's very cerebral. It's very intellectually and mentally stimulating and taxing, and it forces you to think about a lot of things. For the nerd who wants to get deep into stuff, it's absolutely vast in that respect. For some people, they want health, and for that, they want to do a sport. They want to do something that keeps them active. It's one of the greatest things that you can do. It's testing every single aspect of your physicality, be it speed, strength, agility, mobility, balance. All of these things get tested, and if they get tested, they get built as well. And then some people looking to get into it to feel confidence, or to feel that they want to learn how to fight or protect themselves. And some of them just want the ability to beat up anyone in the room. So for all of these different things, it
Yeah.
kind of ticks all of those boxes. There's very few things that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu doesn't give you, unless you just want to. The one thing that I have to say, if you don't want things that are hard, stay away, because it is tough, you
Yeah.
know. So that's the only thing. But apart from that, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is great.
Yeah. Would you really say that it does help self-defense? Let's say, for example, because I know a lot of people, they mention that, oh, jiu-jitsu it won't work in a street fight because people will just be swinging at you and stuff like that. Would you say that it would work in a street fight scenario?
Look, there's absolutely nothing is 100%, and you can have someone who is a black belt in jiu-jitsu get knocked out or stabbed or kicked in the head or whatever you want. But the idea that it is ineffective on a street fight is crazy. It is unbelievably effective. Any martial art where you're able to, there's this misconception, and it's understandable. You have martial arts that are that would refer to themselves as a self-defense primarily, and then you have stuff like jiu-jitsu that is a sport primarily, even though realistically the Gracies actually look at it more as a self-defense. But for most people, especially over in the UK, it's a sport first and foremost. But when you have anything that's a sport, so jiu-jitsu, judo, wrestling, boxing, Thai boxing, any of these things, these are all sports. They are martial arts that have been made safe enough to be practiced at 100%, 100% aggression, 100%, nothing being held back. Then you have your self-defense martial arts, which will say, well, we can't do these 100% because our techniques are very deadly. Lots of groin strikes, biting, eye gouging, stuff like that. Well, the problem is your techniques may be fantastic, but the big difference is that you're not able to practice them against resisting opponents, truly resisting opponents. And that's where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and boxing and kickboxing and Muay Thai and wrestling and judo and all of these things really come into their own, is that once you've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for a couple of years, you have hundreds and hundreds of hours of fighting experience, trying to do something against a human who is trying to stop you from doing that. And then when it comes to a realistic fighting situation, that is what's going to be the currency that you have in the bank. It's not going to be what you know, it's what you're used to doing against someone resisting. So I would back a blue belt with 2 years of jiu-jitsu under their belt over a black belt in Aikido in a street fight every day of the week. Wouldn't even question it. Every single day of the week, I'd back them, because you're used to fighting. Now, does that mean that it is the be all and end all, the best thing that you can do for your self-defense is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? No, probably not. If your number one concern was self-defense, then Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and grappling would be one facet of the training that you would need to do. You want to do some boxing, you want to do some Thai boxing, you want to make sure that your clinch work is really good. You probably want to do some weapon defense stuff from something like Krav or Filipino martial arts, which again, Filipino martial arts, stick fighting that are simulating the knives, and they go hard with each other. They put headgear on and gloves on and they smash the crap out of each other. So these guys are used to fighting as well. So, but the idea that jiu-jitsu isn't effective in a street fight, rubbish. If you're used to throwing people around on the mat, you put yourself in a much better position than not doing jiu-jitsu, and you probably put yourself, I think you put yourself in a better position than doing stuff that's advertised as self-defense training, but doesn't actually have any fighting against resisting opponent. That is the key.
Yeah, no, I always say, you know, to all my friends and stuff that haven't done jiu-jitsu, I'm like, just try it once, please, just try it once, because I know if they try it once, they're gonna get hooked on it. It's so addictive. It's such an amazing thing to do.